Welcome to a team selection video for Game Week 28. Now I have to concede that Game Week 27 has been one of the worst weeks I've had this season, with pretty much everyone blanking except maybe one or two players. So I'll be talking about that, my thoughts, talking about the transfers I did make for Game Week 27, and also the ones I've made for Game Week 28, which obviously is very early. I do concede that, but it is what it is, and just want to be prepared well for Game Week 29 and get that over with. Just like the bench boost, happy to have that out of the way. And then after Game Week 29, I can just focus on the rest of the season. Although there will be another blanking Game Week 33 involving Spurs, City and their opponents in Game Week 33, their original opponents, but that's another matter anyway. And yeah, as you can see on screen, pretty much every single player blanked except for Martinez, Lingard and Bruno Fernandes. Son did get an assist, so fair enough, but in a 4-1 win, you'd expect a bit more from Son, but he has adopted a new role in that Spurs side. But Martinez, this guy's been one of the best players I've had this season. He's so consistent, and he's actually one of the top performers of any FPL player as a goalkeeper, which is insane, to be honest. And yeah, I think he's definitely a hold, of course, for Game Week 29, even though they do play Spurs. But yeah, the problem with him is after when the fixtures turn around Game Week 31 or 32, they're bad for the rest of the season. So you have a bit of a conundrum there if you're on a wild card, for example. Do you get rid of him? He may have some good fixtures here or there, like Game Week 33 against West Brom. But overall, you have to say that Martinez probably is someone that we might have to get rid of at some point, but not now. Now is definitely not the time, and he just keeps on doing well. So, and he actually was on for more bonus points originally, but they did take that away. But it is what it is. Now, I made an active decision to take a -4 this week for Dunk and Lingard. Now, I never expected Dunk to get a clean sheet, and to be honest, I didn't expect any of my other defenders to do the same. But yeah, I did get rid of Wan-Bissaka, and obviously there was always the possibility of United keeping a clean sheet at the Etihad, even if it was a draw or whatever. I'm just happy, I didn't have Shaw or something and got rid of him, and then he got 14 points or something like that on a -4. That would have been catastrophic, but still not a great move now. But I would hope that the points are made up in Game Week 29. But obviously, whenever you make these type of moves, most of the time they don't end up paying off overall in terms of overall points. But I just want to have a good team for Game Week 29. But sometimes a bit of short-sightedness or just looking too much into one particular game week, which to be fair, I probably am doing with Game Week 29. It can cost you. But Lewis Dunk could do well in Game Week 28 against Southampton and against Newcastle at 29. I mean, if you look at Brighton's record against Newcastle, it's actually very, very good. And Dunk has gotten plenty of bonus points before against them. So hopefully more of the same. Maybe an attack and return or something like that. That would definitely make up for it. And then when Lingard, he scored a goal, but he'd missed the penalty, obviously, before that. And he also got a yellow card. So he could have gotten much more. I think, obviously that penalty miss and the yellow card ruled him out of the bonus points for sure. But he could have gotten double digits just from a goal from the penalty spot, just like Bruno Fernandes did. But it is what it is. And Lingard now doesn't play in 28. That's why he's red flagged because he's on loan from Manchester United. But yeah, Lingard I think could do well against Arsenal in Game Week 29. I think he'll be right up for that. And West Ham right now are a better team. So yeah, still pretty optimistic about that from an FPL perspective. The City players, of course, they did very, very poorly and they conceded a goal within basically the first minute or so. So very disappointing there. But at least I did have Bruno Fernandes, and I'll be honest, it never really crossed my mind to bench him. Whenever I was maybe remotely considering it, I always said, nah, there's no point. That's what he can do. He might not even have a necessarily great game in terms of volume of shots or quality chances, but just one penalty is all it takes. And even though they're up against the best team probably in the world, at least defensively, Bruno can still do something. And Manchester United have a very good record at the Etihad in the Premier League over the last few years. I believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has won there 3 times in a row. So, Bruno Fernandes does the business once again. Very happy with him. But when you look at the 3 City players, very poor. Gundogan was my captain. And to be honest, I'm not really regretting it too much because Son didn't do that much anyway. And Gundogan could outscore him in the Southampton game. Bruno Fernandes, I never was realistically going to captain, so I'm not going to, hit myself for that. The 2 strikers, Antonio, who I actually said is a good captaincy option this week, even Lingard, not that well. I thought there would be more points for both of them. Bamford missed some great chances, and to be honest, I never really was considering him. And then Salah. Obviously, beginning of the season, you looked at this fixture and you think, Salah captain, no-brainer, but just look how bad Liverpool are at the moment, and there is a case of getting rid of him, to be honest, and I've said this for several weeks now, but some people have gotten rid of him maybe 10 game weeks ago and they haven't really felt the effects. Not too many double-digit hauls. The last one I think was in game week 21 against West Ham. And other than that, he's been very lackluster because Liverpool are just very poor. And to be honest, with my bench, there's nothing really to moan about. Did the right thing with the keepers. And yeah, all of my other players blanked. Digne got 0 points in the end. So didn't really miss out on anything on the bench, which is refreshing, but doesn't matter because this game week has not gone well so far. And yeah, 40 game week points so far. And my rank has dropped from 96k to 140. Obviously, it can change, maybe with a Gundogan captaincy haul, Stones and Cancelo, but I do expect one of them to be benched. So there's not much that we can do there. But moving on to game week 28, bit more optimistic, and I have made 2 transfers already, as you can see, and I can't go without Kane. That's the way I see it, and I got away with one in double game week 26 where Kane missed several chances that he normally buries, but he made up for that in game week 27. And Crystal Palace are so poor. If I did have Kane, I would have considered captaining him, although maybe I still would have gone with a City player. But yeah, I mean, you just can't go without him. And I think Son, despite how good he has been this season, and he's still got a lot of assist potential, so he can still get double-digit returns like he did in double game week 26. You just want to have Kane. He's going to be the main man for Spurs, and he not only has the assists in him, but he also has the goals, and he's going to get the bonus points whenever he's involved in something. And Gareth Bale is a differential. Now, I'll explain why I've gone with this, but I'll go for the rest of my team first. But obviously, triple Spurs attack is something I would normally never do, but I'll explain the reasons why. And to be fair, it's something that I've actually said before, I wouldn't do it. Even though they look really good at the moment, double is enough. And I still maintain that belief, but I'll be explaining why I've gone for the triple up. It was, you could say maybe, a knee-jerk move, but I'm also thinking about game week 29 and also the fixture after that before our wildcard. But Martinez in goal against Newcastle, you would hope for some returns there. Newcastle are so poor right now, and if they did have Callum Wilson, it's a different story, but because there's no Callum Wilson, so many injuries in the forward line, they just look lackluster, and I think Aston Villa could get a clean sheet. Martinez could be on for double digits once again, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. You never know with Newcastle, they can sometimes turn up, but they look like they could get relegated, so yeah, just have to hope that Aston Villa could do something there and Martinez gets plenty of points. My defence is looking pretty solid, at least on paper, but Fulham isn't easy. I think City are going to struggle more so to break them down, but I think City can keep a clean sheet here. That's why I've gone for the double up, Stones and Cancelo. But will they play? That game is going to happen just a few days before their Champions League tie against Borussia Mönchengladbach. So I think there's going to be rotation there, and that's why it's important to have a good bench. Digne is also there against Burnley. The chances of a double game week are pretty much non-existent now. You never know, but if there is a double game week where Aston Villa versus Everton will be moved to, most likely will be game week 30, if not probably later down the line. But Digne against Burnley at home could do something. Burnley have been a bit more offensive recently, even against Arsenal and Spurs. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But if Everton maintain their defensive organisation as they've been doing for most of the last few games, then yeah, I think Digne could do something there and maybe even add an attack in return. My midfield is looking pretty solid. Bruno Fernandes is someone I am considering captaining. I know West Ham are a very good team right now, but it's Bruno Fernandes. And I mean, just look at the fixture against City away. It's the worst fixture on paper this season, and yet Bruno Fernandes got a double-digit haul. It could easily happen. I've got the double up in midfield of the Spurs attack, and I've also got Kane to add on top of that with Bale and Son. And I'll be honest, with the Arsenal game, it's not like I necessarily back all of them to do very well. But the reason why I did take that -4 to get rid of Salah and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is because both of them have been vastly underperforming. That's the main thing, and I think I would rather have Kane than Salah. I will say though that if you do have Salah and you can help it, I would try to keep him, because against Wolves he actually got a double-digit return last time that they faced. I think Liverpool won 4-0 at Anfield. Liverpool were a much different team back then. They were looking much better despite their injuries and all of that, but I would try to keep him. The reason I got in Bale now is because it also allows me to make another transfer in Game Week 29 for free, and that's when I'll most likely do Gundogan to Rafinha. Gundogan won't play, obviously, in the Blank Gameweek, but Rafinha will, and that will allow me to have 10 players overall. And also, just Bale's ownership is very attractive, and although he's going to be the most transferred in player this week along with Kane, his ownership is very low. Let's check now what it is. Yeah, 5.5%. When I got him, it was around, 3-4%. So yeah, he's going to go up maybe around to 7 to 8%, especially after the Arsenal game. But I think he could be a very good differential for Game Week 29 against Aston Villa, although it's not an easy game on paper. But then after that, in Game Week 30, a triple Spurs attack against Newcastle away looks very, very good. After that, I think they have Manchester United in Game Week 31, and that's when I most likely will wildcard. I'll have a lot of fixture swings, and I don't want to have triple Spurs attack against United, even though they did win 6-1 last time. But that's the reasoning, really. Game Week 29 is a big part of that. It allows me to do something different, a short-term punt, get Kane back in, and it also allows me to get Rafinha in for Gundogan. So it may not seem too logical because Calvert-Lewin and Salah are two good captaincy options this week. I still maintain that. And just because they're in bad form, it doesn't mean they can't or can change their form around. You know what I mean? So yeah, Salah might be doing very poorly over the last few weeks. Hasn't scored many goals. 38 points in how many game weeks? Maybe 10 game weeks. I'm not even sure. It's something ridiculous like that. But he can still do something against Wolves, even a double-digit return. So I'm well aware of the risks. But I've got the triple Spurs attack here. And after that, I'll most likely just stick to one or two. And depending on how Bale keeps on going and his fitness, I may actually keep him over Son. And for any of you who are maybe asking, should I go for Son, should I go for Bale? I think it's a tough one. So Son is going to offer you more consistency, more minutes, and more assist potential. But with the role he has right now, he's not going to be getting into the box that much. Bale is having all the shots within the 6-yard box, which are going to be top quality chances. And I think he's put away all of them that were within the 6-yard box. And yeah, he's just making great runs. And everyone's preoccupied with Son. They've been playing against him all season. They know how he operates. Bale is something different. He is the little wild card in a way for Jose Mourinho, which has changed things around for them and brought back that attacking flair that we saw at the beginning of the season. So yeah, Gareth Bale looks very good, and I would still go for Son overall, but if you're maybe looking for a punt over the next few weeks and then you're going to wildcard out of that, I think Bale would be the better option short term, but longer term, I still maintain that Son is the better asset. And then Harry Kane, I think right now, probably the best big hitter, best asset in the game, along with Bruno Fernandes. I think going without one of them can massively damage your rank. And in my case, I think if Kane didn't do what he did, I probably would still be around the same rank that I was before. I think the -4 that I took, and obviously getting rid of Wan-Bissaka along with Kane, has made this game week even worse than it would have been otherwise. And it was a possibility for me to take a -4 for Kane, but I most likely would have gotten rid of Bruno, and I didn't want to do that. But obviously, in hindsight, probably should have just done the -4 last week from Salah to Kane, but it didn't happen. But the rest of the team, I'll be honest, I'm not too confident with Gundogan. As I said before, Fulham look pretty decent defensively, and Gundogan just isn't having the same amount of shots, quality chances, the runs. He's playing deeper now with De Bruyne back, so not too convinced with him there, and I probably won't be captaining him again unless I see an improvement, a significant improvement in his numbers and also from the eye test. But yeah, he's definitely someone I wouldn't captain right now. And yeah, Antonio away to Manchester United, not the greatest fixture, but he did score there last season. He scored a penalty. I think the result was 1-1, so something similar could happen there. And then Bamford at home to Chelsea. Chelsea have a very good defence, but then again, even when Bamford did play Chelsea last time, and I think Leeds lost 4-1 there at Stamford Bridge, Bamford did score the goal, and Chelsea were one of the best defences at the time. So although I think Chelsea are better now, there is still the potential for Bamford to do something, and he is due. I think he's missed plenty of chances over the last few game weeks, but it is what it is. And my bench will look something like this. I mean, you could arguably put Duncan against Southampton away, but Dallas definitely not going into my team. And as I said before, when I was explaining why I didn't play Digne, when the game could have been 0-0 against Chelsea, when you look at it on paper, it's just, yeah, Chelsea aren't free scoring, but they can definitely score 1 or 2. And to be honest, with how Leeds play, I could even see Chelsea scoring 3 or 4. And I don't really see Chelsea conceding too many themselves. So I would back Chelsea heavily in that. And Bamford is the only one I would go for, or Rafinha if you have him. But Dallas could get that attack in return. You never know. He always does it in these difficult fixtures when you bench him. But yeah, I think that's how my bench is going to be. I'm going to play Martinez over Pope for sure. And yeah, Dunk could come in. But other than that, I think everything else will stay the same. In terms of captaincy, as I discussed before, it's definitely between Kane or Bruno Fernandes. The reason why I've got it on Kane, partly just in case I can jinx him, I do want Arsenal to win that game. But if not, Kane will get plenty of points, and he's got a great record against Arsenal. A lot of them are penalties, but he still just finds a way to get the points. And he's got a ridiculous record. I think he's basically got a 1-on-1 ratio in terms of goals, and he's got a couple of assists on top of that. So yeah, his record is phenomenal against Arsenal. And Bruno Fernandes at home to West Ham, that's another really good one. A lot of people that did get rid of him will try to get him back in, maybe for a hit. So yeah, people are going to be clamoring to get him back, and some people will have to wait until after Game Week 29 to get this guy back. And so that's going to be a big advantage having him or captaining him, and he does well. But yeah, I think Kane and Bruno Fernandes are the standouts this week. If you want to go a bit different, maybe the Richarlison at home to Burnley. And if I had a choice between Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin right now, no doubt I'd go for Richarlison. Lower ownership, more explosive, more consistent right now, and Calvert-Lewin's role in that Everton side, I just don't like it from an FPL perspective. But that's how my team is lining up for Game Week 28. Let me know what you think of my team down in the comment section below, and tell me what your situation is like. And if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate it if you can share this video around with anyone who enjoys or loves FPL. That would be greatly appreciated. I also do UCL fantasy content. I did a live stream yesterday, and I also did a team selection video for matchday 8 there, so if you want, check that out. And yeah, that's how my team is looking. Hopefully a much better week. Still the possibility of my City triple up in Game Week 27 saving my week, but it is unlikely, especially with rotation. You would argue probably inevitable. But Game Week 28, I do expect much better things. And in Game Week 29, as I already discussed, my probable transfer will be Gundogan to Rafinha, and then I'll have 10 blank Game Week 29 players. And then after that, I'll probably look to maybe get in a Chelsea defender, Rudiger, but I'll definitely be wildcarding around game weeks 31, 32 or 33. So there's a lot of things to consider down the line. There will be more double game weeks, as I keep on saying, in game week 35 maybe, 32, and also the blank in 33 with the Carabao Cup finalists blanking. So just bear that in mind, but that is looking very, very much down the line. And we still have to focus on game week 28. A lot of people, including myself, have put a lot of emphasis on game week 29 and getting through that. But you also have to have a good team for Game Week 28, because otherwise you could have a week like I have in Game Week 27 where you're just not getting the points you want. But thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you next time.